Okay,
Sure.
we are recording again. Okay.
Yep.
I have a question right now.
For
Yes,
sure.
yes, go on.
So what is the total tuition fee for Waterloo?
So that depends on your discipline, and even your program in general. First year it's gonna be a lot higher because you have to add into account your residence cost if you choose to live there. But an educated guess, I'm gonna say, let me think, 8,000 to 9,000 a term. But
Okay,
that's yep.
and also what's the cost after 4 years? 4 years of your education in Waterloo.
Sorry, could you ask that again?
What is the cost after 4 years of your education in Waterloo?
Well, you have to think that engineering at Waterloo, it's not just 4 years. It's a bit longer because of the co-ops.
Yeah.
How many people get a scholarship every year?
I'm gonna answer his question first. But yeah, I guess if you can round the cost to, let's say like 20K for 1 year, and you're doing 4 years,
Okay.
simple math, I guess it would probably be like 80K total in tuition. But obviously then, you have scholarships, you have OSAP, and the great thing about Waterloo, you also have a co-op. You can pay off a majority of your tuition.
How many?
And one last question.
Yep.
How much do you earn from your co-ops? How much do you earn from
That also depends. Not only on your I know, like, software engineers, they're going to go to California for some of their jobs. They're going to make US money. They're going to make a lot of money, especially some of their some of their last co-ops.
So do you have like a range or something like that?
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, it's going to depend. Your first few ones, you might be only making minimum wage. Like I only made minimum wage at my first co-op. But after that, the range can go anywhere from like minimum wage to like 25 an hour for your first few co-ops. And then after that, you can honestly look at like 30, 40 an hour, depending on your discipline, depending on your experience. And you can also sometimes get added benefits like housing stipends, that kind of stuff.
And
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
how many people get the scholarship every year?
I honestly, I don't know how many people get the scholarship every year. I know there's certain scholarships you get first year just for getting, high average in high school. I guess everyone gets that. After that, scholarships, I'm guessing they're a lot harder to attain. You can get grants, I think. But I guess the best way to keep getting scholarships is, look outside of your university, look at other places that are offering scholarships, apply to them, and try to get those. I think I had one other question regarding living on campus first year. Not too sure who asked.
So I was asking a question.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think it's optional, right? You can stay
Yes.
pass it off campus.
For sure. First year it's optional. Like I have some friends that, they lived in Waterloo, so obviously they're not gonna pay to live on campus. I highly recommend living on campus first year, rather than renting an apartment. If you're going to do that anyways, because it's just a better experience, a better way to meet people, make friends, and it just makes first year a lot easier. And after that, like I lived on campus first year, and ever since then I've been renting and subletting apartments, and it's been pretty easy. But yeah, I definitely, it's optional, but I recommend doing it if you were going to live in an apartment there anyways.
Okay.
Yep. All right, I will continue now. So I talked a lot about the university now. Obviously, university, it's not just about school. You like I said before, you have to find a balance between work and your life. You may know Waterloo, it's not really known as a party school. For good reason, it's not a party school. And it's not like Toronto where you have, all this stuff to do, downtown Toronto, all this fun stuff to do. But there are still some pretty good things to do in Waterloo. First of all, one of my favorite things to do is eat. There is a lot of good food in Waterloo and a lot of variety. Stuff from there's probably like almost 10 shawarma places nearby. You have really good sushi places, really good Korean places. poutine, Chinese food, like any kind of food you can think of, you can probably find it somewhere nearby the university, or you can probably Uber Eats it if it's not too far away. There's a few plazas right near the university, and there's lots of restaurants down University Avenue. You'll learn about that. And there's even some plazas near Laurier. So yeah, getting good food, going out with your friends, eating at a nice restaurant, it's a great way to relax after an exam. In terms of other activities to do with friends, there's multiple. There's a few board game cafes that I've been to. Had lots of fun there. They have almost any kind of board game you can think of. Axe throwing is an activity that's been getting pretty popular lately. I actually haven't tried it myself, but I've seen a place or two nearby the university. There's indoor golf courses and outdoor golf courses if you want to try that. There's a few good movie theaters because watching a movie with friends is always a good time. There's two. Yep. Sorry.
Is there any shooting ranges nearby?
Yeah, actually, there is a shooting range. I don't know its exact location, but one of my friends, he went there. I didn't get a chance to go myself. I was supposed to, but I was busy. But there is one in Waterloo. There's two malls, but the main one is probably Conestoga Mall. It's pretty easy to get to from Waterloo. And in my first year, it wasn't that great. Even now, it's not an Eaton Center. It's not a square one, but it's pretty good. You can shop there. You can find most of what you need. It has a nice food court as well. When the weather gets better, St. Jacob's Farmers Market's a great place to go. And there's also Waterloo Park, which is, it's a pathway through this park, like 10-minute walk from the university. It's beautiful. There's lots of fields where you can play sports on, tennis courts, basketball courts. It's a really nice time, especially when the weather is nice. There's two big sports complexes. I've been to one, I think it's called Max's Sports World. They have, like indoor golf, indoor soccer. They got all the artificial turf. I played bubble soccer there for my friend's birthday party. It's a really good time. Definitely something you should check out. And that's just all the stuff you can do outside of the university. There's clubs in the university that you can join, intramural sports you can join, like soccer, football, ice hockey, ultimate frisbee, even dodgeball. You can do those with your friends. You play like 5 or 6 games, then you go into playoffs. There's a big event in one of the main buildings in Waterloo where each club gets a little booth, and you can walk around going from club to club and seeing, what each club's about, learning about each club and seeing what interests you. And these clubs, they also throw events on campus, from things like, like a simple, like, they're just giving away some food, giving away some pizza, to more fun things, like a whole, what do you call it? Like a bubble castle, bouncy castle, big events like that. Definitely lots to do on campus and off campus at Waterloo. And one of the good things also about Waterloo is, I mentioned it before, but with your Watt card, which is the card you get free transit. This is not only for the buses at Waterloo, there is also an LRT system that's only about a year old, not even a year old now, actually. And it makes it easy to get from place to place as well. For example, there's a stop for the LRT right at the university. You take it 2 stops north and you're at the mall. Super simple, super easy to get from place to place without a car. So hopefully you have an idea if Waterloo is right for you. If you still don't just take into account what I'm saying in my presentation. There's other important factors. For example, scholarships. If you have a really good scholarship for another university, you might want to consider, that's something you have to take into account. Housing and transportation. So, like I said, for me, I only live an hour and a half away from Waterloo. So if I need to go home every month, it's pretty easy for me to do. If you're living in Waterloo, why not go to Waterloo? But if you're living like 5 minutes from University of Toronto, that might be something you would have to think about. And finally, probably one of the most important things is, do you like the campus? If you have not had the chance to go to the campus yet, I recommend that you do before you try getting in, obviously when the situation gets better.
How many people?
Sorry?
How many people dropped out of Waterloo this year?
I don't know the exact numbers.
I just want to know if it's a little or average or a lot.
I definitely say it's either average or a bit less than average. if you get into Waterloo, you belong. Most of the time, you're gonna belong there. It's not like, I know some universities, they let a lot of people in first year, they take your money, and then you're not able to keep up and you get kicked out. Waterloo doesn't really do that, but there's definitely a decent amount of people that can't deal with it or can't keep up, so they do drop out. That's really not a big deal. I know people that have dropped out and they came right back. But yeah, I can't give you a number off the top of my head. I feel if you Google that, you can definitely find it pretty easily. Right. So if you like the campus, that's a good start. Like I said, for me, I know a lot of people, they say they don't like the Waterloo campus. They find it kind of boring, kind of bland. I think it's pretty nice. It's definitely a bit boring at times, but one nice thing about it, it's very close by. You can get from class to class pretty easily. It's not like, I know University of Toronto, you have to take a bus to another class because they're so far. If you're not sure if your specific discipline is right for you, if you're going to electrical engineering and you're thinking about switching to something else, I mentioned it before, but it's not too hard to switch. Obviously, switching from one program to another, the difficulty will depend on which programs they are and also your average, but you can definitely do that first year especially. So if that's something that you're worried about, you should definitely keep that in mind. There's a quiz. I think Prama provided a link for this quiz. If you're trying to figure out what discipline you want to do, it's a good quiz for that. To end this presentation on a bit of a comedic note, but also a very important note, if you know Waterloo, there's a lot of Canada Geese on campus, and staying safe from them is something that you kind of have to do almost every day on your walk to class. So like I said, they're found all over campus, like on the fields, on the pathways, on the top of residence buildings, on the top of like buildings in general. So you always got to keep an eye out for them. You guys are probably practicing social distancing right now. You should practice social distancing from these geese because you don't want to get too close to them because that's when they get angry. And one of the most important things is definitely don't make eye contact with them because then they'll feel like you're threatening them. And you definitely don't want that because if they get irritated, you have a very important decision to make. Do you either turn around and walk another way, or do you try to walk by them? If you're already late for class, you might have to walk through them, but if you have time, you can take another path. But if you are chased by a geese or multiple, speaking from experience, the best thing to do is just run, just run. And hopefully you stay.
Can you attack them?
I would not attack them. Definitely not. That's a bad idea. Very bad idea.
Because more geese will come.
Yeah. They make an interesting noise. Thank you everyone for listening to my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. Here are some of the links that I used in my presentation and that you should definitely check out if you need to. You can ask questions now, and if you have any other questions, stuff more specific to civil especially, you can email me here. It's my personal email address, and I will answer that as best as I can. Yeah,
thank you, Rohit. It was really amazing, and completely I was involved with your talk. So I think some of them might have questions, and we'll have a little bit discussion. Okay, anyone can ask now question.
Yes.
And we can go to the screen of sharing. We can go for all.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, question. Everyone, again, video on Shukomal. So do you want to say something? Rohit, the Shukomal uncle is a great civil engineer. He is now in San Francisco. San Francisco. He was Buet first class pass.
San Francisco.
Yeah. And you might. Okay. However, Rohit is not going to structural engineering. He is focusing for transportation. However.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Go.
Yeah.
Shoykot.
In structural engineering, it would have been used my work.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
almost the whole world uses it.
Yeah.
Our software in structural engineering is very popular.
Oh, which software is it?
For building design, ETABS.
Oh yeah,
And for-
ETABS. I know ETABS. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Oh, wow.
for
Very
any
impressive.
structure, SAP 2000.
Yeah, I've used SAP 2000.
And
Wow, very very impressive.
I do
used
all
those.
the design course there.
Oh, okay. Wow,
Means,
that's good.
America, Canada.
Yeah,
Means
yeah,
every
yeah,
country
yeah.
has their design course.
Right,
I
right,
do all
right.
of them.
Wow, that's very, very impressive. Yeah.
But I'm happy that you are in civil engineering,
Yep.
following your dad's path.
Yes. Exactly.
And I think you're very clear and focused on this subject actually.
Thank you.
And your presentation was really good.
Thanks.
So it will encourage all the kids now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Hey, Rohit. Nice
Hey.
to see you here after a long time, and hi to your parents. And it's also nice to know that we're going to see another transportation engineer. I'm a transportation engineer. Basically.
Okay.
I did
good
master's from UFT in transportation.
Right.
So what are you specializing on transportation? Kind of like the modeling or planning or design or something else?
I'm still not too sure exactly which one. I need to take some more courses. And in my next semester, I would actually start taking more transportation courses. So from there, I'm going to figure out exactly which one I want to do, what I want to specialize in transportation.
Sure. If you have any question, you're always welcome to call me.
For sure. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Okay,
Students,
take care.
Thank you.
if anyone has any question, please ask.
I have a question.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've read that the main advantage to going to Waterloo is that a lot of companies hire like directly off of campus.
For sure.
And I'm not sure what your experience with that has been. Has that been true for you? And
yeah, it's definitely true. So what happens sometimes actually is you'll be doing your 5th or 6th, one of your last co-op terms, and the employer will ask you, hey, do you want to come here after you graduate? So that's usually what it means. I've definitely heard lots of cases that happening. So I can speak from experience that, it's something that happens.
Okay, there are some students, those who wants to go to architecture. So Waterloo architecture is very good, I know, yes?
Yeah, they just recently started the architectural engineering program. I think it's only like 2 years old now. I think just the incoming students in fall would be the 3rd class. And they have a whole bunch of new things for them to use. Like they have labs for them. They have tools for them to use. Pretty well known, pretty good for architectural engineering.
Okay, and here most of the students are focusing for engineering. So you recommend that, I know that Waterloo University will be the one of the best, definitely. So Arno, what are you thinking? Are you thinking for Waterloo or somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm considering Waterloo.
Good, very good.
That's good.
Okay, so Rohan, want to ask any question? Okay, so the another thing you are saying that regarding the summer schools, you know that I have one question. So sometimes the kids from our community, most of them has science is not a big deal. They are getting good marks, probably no problem for 95%. But most of the cases, English is the problem.
I know that one too.
Taking only one course English outside the school, is that a big problem, or is they are considering that is not a great marks, or what? What is the influence of that?
So if you don't have the best English mark going in, it's not really a big deal. Obviously, it'll impact your average, but obviously English is a requirement just because it's I think University of Toronto before, they didn't require English for engineering, and then they found that some of their graduates, they weren't exactly communicating that well, they weren't writing that well after they graduated and they're in the workforce. So since then, English has been a requirement. And that first year course that is communications related, it's very simple, very easy. Even if you're not good in English, you'll do fine in it. So if you're struggling with English, it's definitely not a problem for university. It's just something you'll have to work on, and university will help you work on it.
Well, my question is not that, I know that any students, those who are doing very good in math and other things, and once they are getting in, they will go fine. But will they get in with the English kind of either poor score or maybe summer school good score? Which is good for getting in?
Yeah, I know some of my friends, they did summer school English for that exact reason.
And that works?
It works for some of them. I would still advise against it. I mean, it worked for them because their mark was, they got a really, really high English school, summer school mark in English, and it worked out for them. If you think it's going to impact you that much if you take it in the normal course in the normal school year, then maybe that's something you should consider. But most of the time, I would advise against taking it in summer school.
Okay. So no more question. Aloka, want to ask any question?
No, I'm good. It's a very good presentation, Rohit.
Thank you.
Good luck with your studies.
Thank you very much.
Which year are you?
Middle of third year.
Middle of third year. So pretty soon you will finish.
Yeah, just 2 more years.
Are you planning to do masters? Or?
Not right. No, I'm not. Maybe a few years down the line if it's something I'm interested in. But right now.
Question.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't really know how to explain this, but
sure.
Let's say you have like a residence where they have like food, like food attached to the plan, like you can like pay like rent or something, and then they give you like food too.
Yep. Sorry, I didn't hear the end of that.
Like, when you have a residence, can you also have it with the food instead of like always like buying for your own like single meals?
What do you mean getting food? Like getting food for like other people?
No, for yourself, but like it comes with the house cost, like what like the place.
Oh yeah, well, the residences that require a meal plan, it is kind of combined with the house cost. Those residences are also they're usually they're cheaper than the ones where you don't need a meal plan. So if you think of it that way, yeah, it is kind of combined.
Oh wait, so what does that mean? Like when you require a meal plan?
A meal plan it's basically you get a set amount of money that you can use at that the cafes on the university to buy food.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So the residences that I mentioned without kitchens would need a meal plan because otherwise you wouldn't be able to make your food.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so
no
we are now closing your session because we are waiting also for Dia's session. Dia,
yeah, for sure.
Time, please attend Dia's talk as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to go eat, but I'll definitely come right after I eat.
That's fine, no problem. You are tired as well. We'll see you.
Yeah.
Everyone,
all right. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Rohit. We'll talk. I will post your video. You can see.